Into the crypt they creep, into the dark they seep. Ever the wanderers weep at the house on Macabre Hill.
The road to hell is paved with good locations. Final destinations.
About 30 minutes south of Kansas City on I-35 is Ottawa, Kansas. On one corner of the city square, you'll find the Ottawa Municipal Auditorium. The auditorium opened in 1921, a memorial dedicated to the memory of those who had died in World War I. It had a large stage, a flag gallery up above with a mezzanine underneath the seats, over 1,400 total seating, and even a meeting hall downstairs. It was well used until the flood of 1951. It received extensive damage, and then with the advent of television and the loss of revenue, it fell into disrepair and closed in 1974. Eventually, the citizens got together and saved the building, and in 1978, it reopened. The Ottawa Municipal Auditorium has witnessed some outstanding performers. The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Mickey Rooney, Reba McEntire, Johnny Cash, even the Amazing Kreskin. It also witnessed the final performance of Emmy Whittaker. He wasn't a star, he wasn't a singer, he was a World War I veteran who came back from that war troubled. On February 11th, 1924, he told his wife he was leaving to finish some business. That business was his life. He went to the Municipal Auditorium, went into the loft that was underneath the upper seats, and shot himself. It wasn't until spring, when temperatures warmed up, that they found a way to discover his body, if you get my drift. And his. Deborah Barker is the Franklin County Historical Society Director. In 1991, she worked for the Ottawa Municipal Auditorium.
It was a building built right after World War I, and it had many strange creaks and noises and strange knocks. It was a frightening place to be occasionally.
We could contribute those sounds to perhaps the building settling, a little of this and that, but weren't there some sounds that had nothing to do with settling?
Footsteps, for sure. And the building was probably 96% unoccupied. Obviously, it's a big empty auditorium with dressing rooms and a big basement in which nothing much happened except the little office of the Arts Council where I worked. So there was lots of empty space and, yes, sometimes unexplained footsteps.
In September of 1991, September 27th, the Amazing Kreskin came to perform in Ottawa, Kansas. And you had something to do with the performance, didn't you?
Yes, but I didn't know I was going to until I arrived with my daughter to watch the performance and was told that I had been pre-selected to be one of the people who hid his paycheck. That was part of his shtick anywhere he went, was that he had his paycheck put in an envelope and then hidden, and then he found it.
Did the Amazing Kreskin take this part of his show lightly? Well, we asked him.
There's a point in my program where I gather a committee from the audience who are strangers to me, and I hand them my check. And a couple of them then escort me from the theater. This is not a guessing game. It's not some kind of stage illusion. There's no questions asked the committee, but the only thing I require is that the committee concentrates on what they've done and focuses in their mind on what they've done. The bottom line being that if I fail to locate my check, I will forfeit my fee and it will go back to the organization that brought me in, and what have in the show will be for free. Needless to say, it's a hell of a way to make a living.
But apparently this didn't go off quite as planned.
Well, I think it was just a misunderstanding between he and I, in that he said, take this envelope with my paycheck in it and hide it anywhere in the auditorium. And to him, the word auditorium meant this hall we're sitting in with a stage and seating and a couple hundred people watching.
In fact, I looked over my notes on the show, which was 21 years ago, September 27th, 1991.
Yes.
I was rather distressed when the test was over, and I expressed my being annoyed to sympathize with my audience, because it is not that the committee cheated. They legitimately hid it. And yes, I was able to read the thoughts of one of the committee members, and I believe you said you met the person, or a lady who was a key factor in the test.
Yes.
But the bottom line is, the test was not hidden in the theater auditorium. When I say theater auditorium, I got at Carnegie Hall. You have a gigantic auditorium which has 4 balconies. It's a tremendous possible area could be hidden. The problem was they hid the check outside the theater in another room, and therefore you have an audience who paid to see the drama of a show that could not see the scenario take place.
And to me, the word auditorium meant the whole building.
It's the Ottawa Municipal Auditorium. That's the building. So
that's the building, and one could be standing in the Ottawa Municipal Auditorium and not be in the hall. So that's where I went off on a tangent.
Where did you take the paycheck?
Well, I thought about it and thought that an interesting place to put it for someone who was reported to be psychic was in the mezzanine, not part of the hall, but a room across the front of the auditorium. That when the auditorium was built originally in 1918 or 19 was the clubhouse, I guess, or the meeting rooms of the American Legion, the veterans of World War I. And I knew that one of those veterans who hung out at the meeting room had become despondent and had gone into one of the little rooms off the mezzanine and shot himself.
So you hid Kreskin's paycheck in the same place where a man had killed himself. What happens?
That he's blindfolded. He's been blindfolded on the stage this whole time in view of everyone. He and someone else who guides him because he's blindfolded, so he doesn't, step off the stage or something. He senses where the thing is, and he goes off, and there's really quite a little period of time when he's gone. And, of course, nobody's on stage. The audience is first anticipating, and then they're getting kind of bored. And pretty soon he comes back, and we're still standing on stage, too, the group that was responsible for hiding it, 4 or 5 of us. And he snaps at us. He's got it, by the way. But he snaps at us. I don't understand why you took that check and hid it up there. That isn't what I wanted. And anyway, why do you have all those coffins, all those caskets stored up there?
What did the Amazing Kreskin say he saw in that room?
He said, I don't know why you have caskets stored upstairs in that room. The room was completely empty when I put the check there.
But it was a very ominous scenario when I walked into there, and I have to tell you, I did not know when my images came to me, boxes or coffins, I didn't know if I was reading someone's thoughts that knew the story of this theater, or if there was some other energy factor. Because my feeling is this, whether there's ghosts or not, and I'm not particularly aficionado of believing that necessarily ghosts, there's no question in my mind that some energy seems to remain in buildings and homes. Physics teaches us that energy can neither be created or destroyed, and there does seem to be some kind of energy that lingers.
So in 1992, did the Amazing Kreskin feel a leftover life energy? Deborah Barker thinks it might have been something quite different.
He felt the presence of death, I guess.
Stop by the Franklin County, Kansas Historical Portal website at franklincokshistory.org or take a day trip to Ottawa, Kansas, enjoy some antiques, some old-fashioned architecture, and perhaps a slightly more macabre thrill with a touch of ghost hunting. You've already started with your first visit here at Macabre Hill. Got a spooky tale? Got a haunted location? Let me know about it. Send an email to markinthedark@macabrehill.com.